Greetings, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Pammy Out Loud. I'm your host, Pamela Walsh, and this is a podcast about finding community and making connections in life, in whatever ways that might be. Today, I am joined by a friend of my son's, actually, and it has a great story behind it. His name is Eric McLaughlin. Eric is, welcome, Eric. We're glad you're here.
Hello.
Yeah. Eric is an Austin local. Were you born here in Austin, Eric?
I was not actually. I was born in California, but I moved here when I was like 10.
Yeah. So this has been home for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah. And anyway, I've known Eric for many years, as he and my son Bobby have been friends. And then recently, well, actually sometime this summer, Bobby was over and he said, and as I've talked about in previous podcasts, Bobby has some learning disabilities and some other special issues. And he does function independently and lives on his own. But he was at the house and he was saying, "Hey, Mom, my friend Eric made an Instagram post about me and it's gone viral." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And so I looked at the post, and the title of the post is called "The Curious Case of Bob's." And anyway, it is basically about how, one of Bobby's particular disabilities is called nonverbal learning disorder, which means he doesn't pick up on nonverbal cues, right? So when people want him to be quiet, he doesn't necessarily pick up on their looking away and they're doing other things. And so Eric actually made this fabulous Instagram post about what it's like dealing with that and how you connect with people and what it's like to be a friend to somebody who is in that situation. And it has now garnered almost 300,000 views, has been shared over 3,000 times, I believe. And it's really been, as a mom, it touched my heart and got me interested in watching and looking at some of the other things that Eric's been posting. And I just wanted to welcome him to the show and talk about what he's doing and, hear what's happening in your world, Eric. So welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's good to be on the show. Things are good for me. I mean, I talk to Bobby every day, like every single day. I play video games with my friends and we get onto a little Discord channel and he hops in. We're always like, all right, Bobby's here, we're chilling. But yeah, the gist of the video is basically, there are times where I have to be like, "Bobby, stop talking." Like I have to do that because otherwise he just keeps on going and keeps on going. And when new people see this, they're always like, "Why are you doing that? It seems kind of mean." And I have to explain to them, like, I have known Bobby for like 15 years. And I know that the most effective way to just be like, "Okay, we need to get something done," and Bobby's talking, we just got to tell him like, "Hey, you got to stop talking." But it's not out of hate. It's not because I hate him. I love Bobby. That's just the way that it's done.
Right.
But,
Well,
yeah.
and what he went on is he goes on to talk, and I will share the link in the show notes, but what he goes on is to talk about the point where somebody else realizes, like at first they're trying to be really extra nice with Bobby
Yeah.
and try to listen intently. And then they finally reach that point where they want him to just be quiet and they say, "Shut up." And and kind of the conclusion is that's when somebody really is a friend of Bob's,
Yeah.
is when they've reached that point that they're comfortable saying to him, "Shut up."
Right, Bobby. But it's such a interesting thing because it's interesting to see people go. We just call it the process, is what we always call it. Because a new person will join the call and they're like, "Why are you guys being mean to Bobby?" And we're like, "You're stage one of the process. That's you right now." And then over time, they're like being super intent and listening to everything. And they're like, "Okay, I'm going to give him all the hearing that he needs." But then eventually, like, it's too much. It's like, "Bobby, stop. I need to do something else." But that's fine because that's how you talk to anybody. That's my point of the video is like if you're really close friends with someone and they're being annoying, you say that.
Yeah.
And that's just the way that people talk to each other.
Absolutely. And
So
I just want to say, as my other son knew about the video and he hadn't told me about it. And he was like, Mom, I was scared that that was going to hurt your feelings.
Mm,
I said, no, not at all, because, what you want more than anything when you have well, for all of your children, but especially those with special needs or issues, is you want to know that they have quality friends in their life. You want them to have legit people. You don't want people that just put up with them, and so to
right.
me, that video really touched my heart in a very humorous way, yeah, that's the experience of being around Bobby, and he is really fortunate. I feel comforted by the fact he has friends who know him and put up with him and call him out on his stuff, just like we all need.
That's what everyone needs.
Yeah.
No matter who you are, that's what everybody needs, is
Yeah.
someone to call you out whenever you're doing something that
Yeah.
you shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's great. He's great. There's Bobby is also like so funny too, because he will say stuff that nobody in any realm of the world would ever think about saying. And I'm like, dude, that was the funniest thing I've ever heard. And it's that's kind of the beauty of Bobby too, is that sometimes he'll like, because he'll, like I said, he rambles, but there are times where he'll ramble something that I'm like, that was like art. What came out of your mouth? And it's amazing. So yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I want to talk to you about what you've been doing. And you have your own podcast. That's correct, right?
Right.
And it's called the Eric McLaughlin Podcast, and you can find it on YouTube.
That's right.
What are you doing there?
So basically what I'm doing is I've been doing stand-up comedy for the last like maybe a year and a half now. And I go out and I do these open mics and talk to people, meet people. And if anyone that I meet out there is interesting or just kind of stands out, I bring them over and we just have a conversation. And it's really just me meeting them for the first time. Some notable people I've had on was like Timmy No Breaks, who recently is like a really famous, he's actually a very famous comic now based on Kill Tony. Um, and I've had some other comics that have also gotten golden tickets on that show, and then just people that I've met in my life too, like my sister has been on it.
You've met your sister before?
Just once or twice. But, and then, some other folks that just pop in, but it's just a casual conversation. And then the videos online are mostly just whatever is on my brain that day. I'll just talk about it and post it. And if it's good, then I'll post it everywhere else. So
Yeah, so I started going down the Eric rabbit hole. His Instagram account is Look It's Eric with an underscore at the end. And you can find it on Instagram. He currently has 78,000 followers, but we'd like to see those numbers go up. So go find and follow him. And I started watching some of them, and I always laugh because the angle is kind of half of his face. You're laying in bed. You're kind of
it's like a this right here.
That's it.
This is it right here.
I wasn't sure I was going to recognize you full face when I saw your full face,
Right.
Yes. But they are, I call them slice of life, humorous intakes. And I just went down. I started laughing so hard. You did some COVID ones that made me laugh about what, if the world came to an end, and going on, that
that's
would make
right.
me laugh about, what people would do when the world
Yeah.
came to an end.
That one was very relatable because a lot of people I feel like are the same. Because basically the video was, if the world was going to end, I'd probably just have to hang out with my parents.
Right. You weren't going to go out and have a romp in the hay, have a good
Yeah, and it's like,
no, you'd be.
I'd like to go out with a bang, like a big party or do something crazy. But I know that as soon as I found out the world was going to end, I'd probably get a text from my dad like, hey, you got to be over here like at 1 and bring some ice. And I'm like, all right.
I'm on my way, Dad.
Yeah, I guess I'm on the way. So,
what have been some of your most popular ones?
By far the most popular one was one that I posted. I recently reposted it, but it got like 30 million views on.
30 million.
Yeah, it was crazy. And it was a video about the Aztecs. Basically the Aztecs, when they were like the final battle they had against the Spanish, they knew they were going to lose.
Is this a legit story, or is this when you're making it up?
No, it's legit. So I actually heard it on a podcast and I was dying laughing because And it was just such a ridiculous story. Like the Aztecs, they knew they were going to lose against the Spanish, so they were like, we're going to summon this owl god to like fight the Spaniards. And it was just a guy on. It was just a guy. They gave him drugs and they were like throw him out in the battlefield and they were like, go fight him. And then there were actual Spanish records of them being like, we got into the city. There was a guy here dressed like an owl who was shooting darts at us. So we shot that guy. We kept going. And that video just blew up because there were so many people that also thought that was so funny. And then there were people who were like, oh, that's my heritage. And like what happened to the Aztecs were terrible. So then it started some debate. But that's the kind of stuff that just takes things off. Right. So,
That's awesome. That's
yeah.
awesome. Where do you get your ideas? Or I mean,
So like I said, it's mostly just whatever's on my mind that day. I post like maybe 2 videos a day on TikTok, and a lot of them are not interesting because, whatever's on your mind on any given day is usually not terribly interesting. But I do it pretty consistently enough that if I have a good idea or funny thing that happened to me and it does do well, then I start putting it on Instagram and other sources. But TikTok has just been like my brain dump essentially. So there's a lot of stuff I put on there that doesn't do that well. But then if it does, then I post it elsewhere.
yeah. And then do you extrapolate as when you do your stand-up comedy? Do you get stuff that initiated on your TikTok?
Pretty much. So
Yeah.
like anything that I'll think of, like I said, I'll make a video for it. And if it does well, then I'm like, I could probably do a stand-up out of that. But then there are some things that are more of a stand-up joke and less of a video joke. So there's a little bit of disconnect between the two sometimes.
Right, right, right. So, okay, your background, you've been in Austin since you were 10. You come
Right.
from family, you have mom and dad, sister,
Mhm.
dog, cat.
I got a dog. My background's a little weird though. I'm actually Brazilian, which is
Was that
crazy.
right?
Yeah.
You don't
My
look Brazilian.
No, I don't. I had a one video about that too, where everyone's like, "You don't look Brazilian." And I'm like, "No, I don't." But I am. I even have a passport. Let's see, I got it. Here we go, right there. Boom.
There you go. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, but I'm my mom's Brazilian, so
Okay.
she moved here when she was like 25, and she met my dad here, and then she decided to stay. So we go every year. I speak Portuguese and all that. But I'm actually going in January to see family. So
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Okay,
yeah,
so then you came here and grew up relatively in Austin after you got here in 10 when you're 10.
yeah, California until I was 10, and then here in Austin. Went to middle school here, college, high school, all that here.
Got it. Got it. And what are you doing now? Are you supporting you're not supporting yourself on comedy yet, are you? Close?
Kind of a
Are
bit.
you
So
really?
I a little bit. I kind of a bit. Like I would say, yeah,
Mystery.
over the
Doesn't
last.
that sound like such a mother thing? You're not supporting yourself yet, are you?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned
You have
it.
a real job, Eric.
I do have a real job. So I sell mortgages also, which is my
Okay.
other job. And I do that independently, but I also the videos pay. Like if you can get pay from TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, that is a thing that works. And the videos are doing well enough where I can get money from that.
That's
And I would say,
exciting.
what's that?
That's exciting. Good for you.
It's Yeah, thank you. And over the last couple of months, it's been supporting me, which has been nice because the mortgage market isn't great.
Hmm.
But I mean, I still love mortgage and I'm not going to drop it. And it's my own little personal business that I do also on the side. But yeah, the comedy stuff is slowly taking over. And I kind of hope it does, to be honest,
Right.
because I think it's really fun. It's really creative. I can just go out and say whatever I want and it's good.
So how do you do that? Like, how do you like? Okay, you decide I want to do stand-up comedy, and then where do you go? Do you go on? Oh, you do open mic type things. You go. How does that work?
So I think the first time I went was, like I said, a year and a half ago. I was already doing videos and I just went to the Creek in the Cave downtown in Austin and I just sat in on an open mic. There was a midnight open mic and a bunch of people go up there. They bomb. They're doing terrible. It's a really bad open mic, but it's amazing at the same time because you get up there and you will suck. And that's kind of how it goes. You have to suck.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then eventually you'll say something and it makes people laugh and it's all worth it.
And
Like
then I was going to say, then that gives you that little hit of a dopamine that goes, okay, I want to keep doing this.
and it is a drug. Like it is a drug because when you get up there and you get that hit, it's like, a room full of people laughing at your joke all at the same time. That's it feels great.
Okay,
So
can you describe the first time that happened? Do you remember the joke or do you remember the
yeah, I do remember the joke. So
Can you share it? You know,
yeah, I'll tell it.
we do have an explicit rating, so you can say whatever you want.
Okay, that's fine. And it's not even a dirty joke. So it's
Okay.
actually a video that I have too. But I would do a bunch of different jokes and I would bomb for a while. But one day I went at an open mic, I had a good crowd, and I was feeling comfortable and I told this. So the joke basically goes, I've only seen my dad cry twice in my whole life. And the first time I ever saw him cry was on 9/11 because, I woke up and he was on the couch. It was a pretty sad day. But the second time I saw him cry was about a year later. We were going to school and he was backing out of the garage and he hits my mom's car on the way out. And we get out and we look at the damage and he started crying. And I was like, Dad, what's wrong? He's like, I got to call your mom now and tell her that I fucked up. And I was 10 at the time. So I was looking at him and thinking, man, that's as bad as 9/11. And that's,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Right.
So that was actually like one of the first jokes I ever wrote.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
but it's real. It's a true story too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what makes them the best, right? When you
Hmm.
hit that you're, I think, real humorous. It's like one of my icons. You're not going to probably even know who this is, but Irma Bombeck. Have you ever heard of Irma Bombeck?
I actually have not heard of that. No.
Okay. She was a columnist back in like the 60s and 70s. So it was a newspaper. She was a writer. And she was probably the first female that ever talked about what it was really like to be a wife and a mother. Like
Mm.
everybody else was presenting the, you know, they do housework in their dress and their heels and their pearls, and we love being a mother, and the kids are perfect and their hairs are combed, and Irma Bombeck, someday you look her up, but she always talked about very much, in fact reminds me of kind of your take. It's just these really what's really going on in the home, and
Mhm.
just the kids are all over, you're just, try and that slice of life. I mean, what really appeals to people is because they can identify with exactly what you're saying, right?
It's relatable. Yeah.
It's relatable. It's relatable.
That's the main thing that you start to realize with comedy is that sometimes it doesn't even need to be a big punchline or shock value. It's like as long as people relate to it, it's funny.
I'm a big fan of Nate Bargatze right now, and I just,
Oh, Nate's great. Yeah.
yeah, and his ability, one, it keeps it clean. That's kind of nice,
Mm.
but also just you can just completely see everything that he talks about happening. In
Yeah.
their own house. Yeah, exactly. So, who were your comic inspirations? Do you have?
Oh, it's Louis C.K. was number one for
Mhm.
sure. Um, he's just I remember I always wanted to be a comic when I was like 15, 14 years old. I remember telling my dad I wanted to do comedy and I would write jokes on a little piece of paper and I had like all of them saved in my house.
Wow. So,
And
were you that kid in class that cut up all that cut everybody up, made everybody laugh, or you were
I,
more, into your head that you kept them private?
I was definitely a joker. I would definitely get in trouble a lot in class. I definitely was that kid.
Yeah.
But I definitely also wrote a lot though too, and I had these little like ideas that I thought were funny. But it's sad to say my parents were entirely supportive of me doing stand up, but they were like, maybe get like a real job.
I
Um,
understand.
no, and I understand it too, and I'm actually happy that I waited until this point in my life to do it.
Hmm.
Because I do think I have a lot of understanding of what it's like to be a normal person and not just a comic. And I think a lot of what happens to comics is they're just hanging around comics all day and they're
Mm.
telling jokes all day and they forget what it's like to be a person. And
That's interesting.
Yeah, I think that's a huge flaw with comics is that they spend so much time trying to think of a funny thing to say and they forget just what it's like to live and like you said, have a slice of life.
Do you think that there is one school of thought that many people that have become comics had these dark childhood and they're depressed and the Robin Williams type scenario. Do you think that there's truth in that, or you go, no, that's just a certain sector of the population?
I I think that trauma can breed a lot of fun humor. I think that's
As a kind of like as a
100 for
coping
sure.
yeah.
Like, because you have something terrible that happened to you, and so you laugh about it. That's a way of coping. That's makes sense. But I don't think that you need to be traumatic to be funny. I don't
Right.
think that that's I think that's sort of a thing that people just like to say to make him seem deeper. But look at Nate Bargatze. He seems very untraumatized.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's hilarious. So,
Yeah. 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 Good point. Good point.
yeah.
Okay, so you talked about Louis C.K. I think one of his funniest bits I've heard him talk about was people that are flying in an airplane, right? And they're complaining about the Wi-Fi. Have you ever heard him talk about this?
Yes. And he's
And
like, you
he's
just found out this was invented 2 minutes ago and you're already complaining that you.
right, right. Like you are literally flying through the air in a big metal craft with 200 other people, and you're
Yeah,
complaining about how slow the internet is.
that is true. I love that bit. My favorite bit of his, which I think is so good, was when he's talking to his daughter and his daughter's like, when will he's like, well, I live forever. And then Louis goes, "No, at some point, like people die." And she's like, "Wait, I'm not." He's like, "So like the world's gonna live forever, though, right?" And he goes, "No, like at one point the sun's gonna blow up and everything's gonna like everyone's gonna die." And then she starts crying, and he's like, "I don't know. I can't really explain it as a punchline, but it's just like this. She just found out that everyone she knows is going to die, and the sun's going to explode." And she took it pretty well. Like, just to see someone be like, "Oh my God, like, anyway, what are we doing later today?"
That's awesome. That's awesome. All
Yeah.
right. So he was one of your influences or one of your favorites.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I used to watch him when I was like 15, 16. I had his stand up on repeat. I would go through all of his YouTube clips. I was like, Louis C.K. was number one. Number two was probably like George Carlin. Bill Burr's pretty up there.
Back in the old days, George.
Yeah. Because when I was a kid, I used to watch Comedy Central in my room all the time. My parents would take my video games because they didn't want me playing all the time. So I only had to go. I was like, "What's good on TV?" And I would watch Comedy Central, and it was always stand up, different stand up acts, hour specials, and I would always watch. Yeah, George Carlin had a bunch of them,
Hmm.
and Greg Giraldo was another one I loved. The roasts were always good. They would do
Gross.
every year. Yeah.
Those are a little brutal.
Oh, they're brutal. And I am not good at roasting. There are some people who just are so good at that. That's just not me though.
Yeah.
But it's fun to watch.
How would you describe your humor?
Um, I would say I can be silly and just have like silly, stupid things that I just think are kind of funny and dumb. But then I also have, these stories.
Yeah.
Like I do with my Instagram. I have these longer, drawn out stories. So it's somewhere. I do think it's pretty well written. I'm not a great performer. I'll say like there's some people that you'll see downtown and like the comics that are so good at performing and they're like doing a whole thing up there and it's amazing. It's like an
Hmm.
act, you
Hmm.
know?
Hmm.
Whereas me, I feel like this sounds so douchey. I feel like I'm more of a writer where I just
Yeah.
write and then I'm like, I think this is a funny thing that I wrote down. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Would you be interested in writing for somebody else, or you like it more? You know what I mean? Would you like, have you ever thought, well, I'd like to write for somebody, or you enjoy the performance part of it?
I would write for somebody else. I mean, I've had some people float ideas of jokes around me, and I'm like, it would be funny if this happened and then this happened. Because I think, especially with the videos, you start to understand the general flow of how to get someone's attention, keep their attention, and then finish with a punchline. And like that natural progression of how a joke is supposed to go.
Hmm.
And when you look at someone else's joke or someone else's story, and then you can kind of frame it in that way so that it's interesting and engaging. Yeah, that's fun. I would do that.
That's interesting. I think that would be, I think I would want to do it myself. I don't think I would. I think well, I tend to be, I'm a writer too, and not a comedic writer, but I don't think I could turn it over to somebody else. I'm like, that's mine. It's my
Yeah,
baby.
that's the other thing too, is that I think the reason why I do this is because I can do it myself. I don't kind of want to work with somebody else in that capacity because it's like, then you're stepping on each other's toes, like who could be
Right.
funnier and all that.
Which brings us to this whole, isn't this awesome that we now have this media at our, we can do it. People can make their own stuff now, content
Yeah.
creation.
Mhm.
We didn't have that opportunity. People, 20 years ago, even less than that, but we're,
Yeah, you had to get a TV deal or something.
yeah, yeah, and now anybody can get on and starts doing, and then you get that interest in the clicks and you're off and running.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's great. Some people hate social media and they're always like, "Oh, it's killing us." And I'm like, "I don't know. I think it's pretty fun."
Yeah, I used to say, and I think I've changed my take on it, but I used to say, when email first came out, for example, I said
Right.
email was ruining joke telling because people, instead of telling jokes, they would put them in, everybody was forwarding jokes, right? So I thought, this
Mm,
is ruining. Nobody's telling jokes anymore. But I think
yeah,
when you bring up something like now with Instagram, TikTok, you have that mechanism. It's that performance part of it is coming back into it, right?
for sure. But the next question is AI. That's something I've
Mm.
definitely been worried about because AI, like especially the AI videos, um, that is changing the game to the point of, you know, you need to have something crazy happening on the screen with an AI generated video. It's like it's not going to be enough to just see reality. We're going to need to see some kind of hyper reality through AI,
We were,
which
sorry.
no, go ahead.
We were at a friend's house, and he does a lot in AI, and he was showing us. I don't know if we were on Spot. I don't know what we were on. If it was Spotify, it was one of the music services, and he was saying, "Okay, play coffee house music," right? And the music was generated by AI.
Right.
It wasn't even real songs.
Right.
It had the qualities of a coffee house music thing.
Yeah.
And even the video, it was generating the video to go behind it. And and he goes, that's all AI. And I'm like, really? And he goes, look, and he started pointing out, look at her hands. Like you can always tell with people's hands. He says there's too many fingers. There's something weird about the hands. That he said it's
Yes.
really hard for AI to get hands right. He said, pay attention to that. And it was creepy. I mean, it was just sitting there thinking, we're listening to music that's not really music that was created, but it was created, with these, and then these people that aren't even these people. I mean, it's eerie.
It is scary, but I think the silver lining to it is like what we were just talking about with performance art on Instagram and social media is it's going to give the average person the ability to like make a movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could just if you type a script in to AI, a script combined with super hyper detail about what you want visually on all the different scenes and what you want the actors to do and all that, you could just make a movie using AI and then promote it, sell it, and do everything yourself without needing a studio or anything. You could just do that alone, and that's amazing compared to the past.
I mean, I was listening, to the debate about, they were having real AI models, is now a big thing. And they're like, real models are pissed off about it, as real
Right.
actors are. But, and can you really duplicate human emotion? Can you really duplicate some of those qualities? Right. But, and I was listening to somebody talk about how some of it though is just like what you said, there is a place for it, right?
Right.
It's kind of like we first panicked about calculators when they came out. Like nobody's going to learn long division anymore.
Right.
It's like it's a tool. It's another tool that we find how to fine tune how to use.
Yeah, I mean, and at the end of the day, doing math in your head sucks.
Right.
And I think right now a lot of people's job depends on doing math in their head, so they're afraid,
Mm,
which is understandable. But in the future, if nobody has to do math in their head, then it's like, okay, that's what we should be doing. And that's
right.
what AI, I think, is. It's like acting, like objectively acting is sort of antiquated. And if
Mm,
you could take a situation where you don't need actors and you just have an idea for a story that you can do without hiring actors, that is a better way of making a movie than, you know,
yeah, that's
than acting.
interesting.
But I think
And how does that relate to comedians?
well, I think it actually I feel pretty good about it because I think that at the end of the day, writing isn't going anywhere. You can't tell AI to create a unique story that's going to work. You still need a human being to drive the story
Mm,
and to create a framework for what it's going to be. So, yeah, you can go to AI and say, "Tell me a scary story," and it's going to give you some C tier scary story. But it's not going to do anything truly creative. Like you need a person to
mm,
come up with a crazy idea and then use AI to make that come to life. So I think writers right now are definitely looking at AI and going, "Dang, I have the ability of a coder, a studio, like all of this in my fingertips to make something real."
yeah. I heard somebody say that you don't have to worry that AI is going to take over your job. It's going to be somebody who knows how to use AI taking over your job.
Yeah.
Right? Like the people that are really going to soar in the next, period of time will be the ones that can use the tool to their best of their advantage.
Yeah, and I was playing with Sora the other day. I don't know if you know what Sora
I do
is.
not,
It's like the Chat GPT AI for video creation, and
okay.
it makes tiny clips, like 5-second clips, and you say like make a video of a guy turning into a banana, and then it has shows a guy turning into a banana. Like it's crazy how it works. But if you get really specific in the details and start chatting with the AI and being like, I need you to make the guy slightly taller or maybe make him scared. Like then you start adding these tiny things and that's where like a writer mentality comes in. You're designing a story
Exactly.
around this. Yeah.
Right. It's really interesting. I'm I'm very, very low end of the AI understanding, but our oldest son Austin is working a lot right now with AI in his company, and he was showing me one day. And of course, I know about Chat GPT. I know about a couple of things here and there, and he was explaining to me, and I thought this was just real interesting. So I wanted to share it. Was that he was there's Gronk, there's Chat GPT, there's Gemini, there's all these different things that are AI tools. And
Right.
so I said to him, why would you use one over the other? And like you just said, Sora, is that the name? Was that the one you were talking about?
Sora, yeah.
Yeah. And he said, well, Mom, he says, think about it. He said, think about it as members of a team that work for you, right? Like
Mhm.
one person's strength is this, right? And one
Yeah.
person's strength is that. And he said the AI tools are the same way, right?
Yeah.
And like he was talking about, I'm probably going to get this wrong. Is Gronk, is that the one that is Elon Musk's?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. He's like, for example, that they're really good at what's going on social media. Like, what's the take
Yeah.
on this, and then this one's better at forming graphics, and this one's better at. And so it
Yeah.
was really interesting because he created an example for me. We were just doing something simple like. Plan a trip to Colorado Springs for a family of four with a 4-year-old who, they're vegans and whatever. We threw all these different things. And I was in shock. And he was like, Gronk, do this. Gronk, go look and see what people are saying on social media about this. And he was giving them all these tasks. And it was fascinating to see what got put together after all of that,
Hmm.
versus me. I would just be at Chat GPT going, I'm still kind of using Chat GPT like you use Google. And I know I'm not doing it right. Like I'm like,
I kind of do the same. I use ChatGPT like Google, but then I've been using it for newer stuff like YouTube descriptions has been a big one. So
mm,
whenever I need to write a YouTube description for a podcast, I say, this was the name of my guest, write a YouTube description for a podcast. these were the topics that we talked about, and then include the hashtags for that. And then it just creates a whole prompt. And I'm like, perfect. Like plug that in, because that doesn't need to be written by me. That's a lot of time. It's like, just let the AI do it. So that, titles, I'm trying to think what else I've been doing. Emails is a big one that a lot of people use it for.
My friend of mine who's also a podcaster was telling me, she said, I generate my outline for my podcasts with it. Like I just say, okay, I'm interviewing this person and they do XYZ, or this is some information about them, and we want to talk about whatever we want to talk about. You create a catchy title for my podcast and give me an outline of things. And it blew me away. And she's like, Pam, you need to be using this. You need to be using this.
Yeah, that's a good way to keep on track with like having at least, like you said, a track to stay on when you're doing a podcast. Like, all right, what are we going to talk about? This is my guest. This is what they do. Yeah, that's pretty smart too.
Give me some questions, where should I go to? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, just some low-key questions to bring up if, things hit a lull. But I've been using it a lot. The Sora one though is different because that one only does video making. So it just makes videos only.
Is it a free tool, or you have to pay for that?
It's free. Yeah, it's an app. I've been using it just to kind of see what's going on. And it's pretty interesting. What I've actually been doing is using AI to then make videos on AI. So I've been going on ChatGPT and saying, I'm using this AI to make videos and I want this to happen. How can I communicate with this AI in an effective way to make this happen on the screen? And then ChatGPT will go type this into that AI. And then I'll take that and put it into that AI. And then that AI will go, okay, I'll make the video now. So it's pretty crazy, but yeah.
Fascinating. That's fascinating. Yeah. I encourage y'all to go to his Instagram account and follow him. Again, it's Eric with an underscore afterwards. And don't miss his podcast. I'm like, I need to tune into that and see what you're doing out there and who you're interviewing. And that is at Eric McLaughlin Podcast on YouTube channel. So you can find him there. Eric, I'm so grateful for your time today, and it's so interesting to talk to you about this topic, and I'll be very excited to see what else you do and your slice of life humor. And most of all, thank you for being my son's friend. I am grateful he has such good people in his life. So,
yeah, I appreciate it so much.
Thank you so much. Y'all have a great day. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me at pammyoutloud@gmail.com, and I can forward them on to Eric, and you'll find him in the show notes. So thank you, everybody. And remember, keep speaking your truth out loud, because grit in your teeth gives you TMJ. Bye-bye.